souls, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this video resonates with you, if you like my energy, if you like the vibes, definitely go ahead and like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel. Join the wolf pack. So in today's video I want to get into the gaslighting ghost. Have you ever experienced the gaslighting ghost? I think I have to toss out my gum. I wanted to keep my gum, but it's making a lot of noise. The other day when I made the video on being a black sheep within my family, I was met with the gaslighting ghost. And essentially what the gaslighting ghost is it's like this voice, this ghost of the past that haunts you, and it is speaking from your past programming and your past belief system. And I've grown up into a system where my truth was not taken for my truth. It was gaslit, it was manipulated, it was, turned around, and not just within my family, but also within friend groups, also within relationships. And so there's part of me from my childhood, from my past programming and belief system that will gaslight me. Even though I know exactly what I'm saying, I know my truth, I know how I feel, I know what I think, I know what I believe, this ghost of my past, the gaslighting ghost, will come and be like, are you sure that's what happened though? But you don't have any proof, but you don't know this, but you don't have that, but is that what really happened? Is that how you really feel? And it'll just really start to question and make me question my own truth, even though I already know my truth, even though I already know how I feel, even though I already know what I experienced. That ghost will be like, are you sure you know what you experienced? Did you really experience that? Do you really feel that way? Do you really think like that? Did that really happen? And what I've learned is that it comes from the past, right? The programming and the training and the belief of like, I have to believe what other people believe in order to be safe, right? As children, we had to agree with our parents or, be good in a sense in order to survive, in order to get what we needed, in order to be loved, right? But now we don't have to do that. Within friend groups in the past, I had to fit in a sense, right? Not say certain things, not express certain things, not believe certain things, or validate my own feelings. And so that kind of took away from my truth. And then in my relationships, I felt like I had to, right? Rather, because I don't have to do anything. But when you're put in certain situations and you are programmed into a certain belief system, into a certain way of being, you just kind of carry that out through all your relationships, through all the dynamics that you meet. And so even in my relationships, my romantic relationships, I felt like I've had to, suppress or hide certain things, or not be completely honest, or, I would be completely honest, but then I would be gaslit, and then they'd be like, you're not this, you're not that, that's not true. So when you experience so many situations and circumstances that gaslight you, you start to gaslight yourself, right? And it becomes a natural thing where it's like you are expressing the truth. You are saying the truth, you are saying what is, you are expressing the truth of your feelings, but there is some part of you that is gaslighting you, and it's making you question what you're saying, and question how you feel, and question what you think, even if logically you know it's true, even if logically you know where it's coming from, even if logically you understand what's happening or where you're coming from. The gaslighting ghost can be tricky. Right? Because it's this voice that just ultimately wants to belong, and it wants to be accepted, and it wants to be loved. And our truths, our voices have felt like for a while that they had to suppress and repress who they really are to belong, to fit in, to be accepted. They've had to believe what other people believe in order to be valuable. They've had to think what other people think in order to fit in or belong or be accepted. And so when we start to really stray away from the group think, or making ourselves believe we have to believe or think or feel how other people believe, think, or feel, that programming is going to fight back. And it fights back in way of when you're speaking or saying something or realizing something, there's this part of you that is denying the truth of it, denying the validity, denying the reality of the situation, by gaslighting yourself, right? Making you question, did I really experience that? Was that really what they meant? Is that really what they said? Am I thinking too much, right? And it gets into that energy of like minimizing, dismissing what actually happened to you, what you actually experienced, or even what you actually did and what you actually said and felt in the moment when you said and felt it or whatever. And so it can be very combative in that sense, because our ego thinks that in order for us to stay safe, we have to, which the ego does want to stay safe, right? But in that old programming, not in the new. The ego doesn't like change. It doesn't like the new. So this gaslighting ghost is going to do anything it can per way of gaslighting you, gaslighting us, gaslighting me, in order to make me kind of go back into this shell of a person, right, that I had to be when I was in survival. Small, frail, weak, not opinionated, unseen. And if you think about it, those are a lot of the ways we felt as children. Might be a lot of the ways we felt in our relationships, whether it was friendships, whether it was familial, whether it was romantic. And so, we have to allow ourselves to step out of that embodiment, step out of the past, because that is where that comes from, and continue to step into this new energy of truth, embodiment, true embodiment, acceptance, liberation, freedom. Oopsie. But when all we've known is being small, weak, frail, unseen, unnoticed, to survive, to belong, to fit in, to make things good and okay, be the peacemaker, when we start stepping into that truth, realizing the truth, seeing the truth for what it is, that gaslighting ghost is going to be like, and that's part of our ego, right? That old ego, that old version of ego, that's like, if I acknowledge the truth, I'm not going to fit in. If I feel how I really feel, there might be conflict. If I say what I really need to say, they might not like it. If I say what I really need to say and I'm who I am and I think how I think, I'm going to need to step up in my own life, and I'm going to need to change as a person. And again, what did I say? The ego doesn't like change, so it's going to fight it per the gaslighting ghost. What I've learned is like, this voice comes in when I'm speaking the truth, when I'm acknowledging how I really feel, the reality. It comes in and it starts making me question or rethink or overthink what it is I know and believe. And like I said, logically, I know and believe it, right? You know and believe it. But emotionally or spiritually, mentally, there's some voice that's like, but, and we have to not allow this voice to just overtake us. And it's a process and it takes time, right? It's something that we actively have to work through, because we're going from one belief system to another, one ego to another, one version of self to another. So we're going to have to do it in layers, and it's going to be a process. But the process is of constantly acknowledging and validating yourself, being in connection to who you are, how you feel, what you think, and what you experienced, especially emotionally, right? Tapping into how you feel and learning how to honor how you feel through speaking, right? Through saying the thing that you're gaslighting yourself about. Because it's like, once you say it, it's like, oh, okay, you let it out. But a lot of times we let it fester in our minds, and then we get caught in the overthinking, rethinking, confusion, and it's like, you're not confused. You may not like what you know, because what you know means you're going to have to do this and that, right? Like I mentioned, be outliered, be othered, not fit in, not belong to a certain group, to a certain space, maybe even to your past selves, but it's necessary. So it's in not just ignoring that voice and being like, oh, it doesn't exist, but acknowledging, like, I'm gaslighting myself right now. Why am I doing that? What am I afraid of? What am I worried will happen? And then validating, like, it's okay. It's okay if this causes conflict. It's okay if people don't agree. It's okay if it means I don't fit in with this group or that person, or I can't be in this relationship anymore. It's okay if they don't like it. It's okay if they don't agree. It's okay if I don't have proof of every single thing. It's okay if I don't have this or that. Because it's not about us needing to prove ourselves anymore. It's not about us needing to have people validate it. It's about us needing to validate it. It's about us needing to acknowledge it. It's about us needing to prove to ourselves, in a sense, like, you don't need proof. I believe you, right? It's about us believing ourselves and really witnessing and recognizing when that gaslighting ghost appears and is trying to diminish our truth or dismiss it or belittle it or stuff it away. Because that is a form of it trying to suppress and repress our voice, our feelings, our thoughts, the new version of us that wants to come in. Because, like I said, that ego doesn't like it, so it's going to do anything it can to kind of get us to go back into that shell of a person, to go back into the unseen, to go back into not being heard. But it's when we really just allow ourselves to continue on in that process of the ghost visiting, not shooing it away, but really thinking like, why am I doing that? Why is this happening? Oftentimes, like I said, it's because there's fear. There's some sort of fear there. That if you do it, if you believe it, if you da-da-da, then da-da-da. Change, right? Change is going to happen either way. So it's that transformation of ideology, that transformation of belief system, of programming, and the knowing that, like, it's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different opinion, a different thought, a different feeling than the group, than your family, than your ex, than your lover, than your friend. And it's important for us to know too that, like, ultimately, if you express your truth, whatever way that truth comes out, whether it's of truth in how you feel, what you experience, what you know, what you think, and that means that a relationship is going to end, or you're not going to be able to be in the same group you were, or you're not going to be able to be wherever, like, it's important for us to let that happen, right? Let the chips fall as they may, and know that we are capable of handling what comes. We are capable of handling conflict. We are capable of handling abandonment, feelings of abandonment. We're capable of feeling feelings of being othered or ostracized. Yes, it might be painful. Yes, it might hurt. Yes, it might be a harsh realization. Yes, things will change. But ultimately, in that change, you are aligning with a better version of yourself. We are aligning with better versions of ourselves. Being mindful of when this gaslighting ghost comes to visit is a key, because once you're aware of it, you can look at it. Once you're aware of it and you can look at it, you can challenge it, you can talk to it, you can speak to it, you can, in a sense, investigate it, right? Analyze it. Where is this coming from? What am I afraid of? And then make a choice, right? Because then you have a choice point. And you can choose your old self or your new self. You can choose to live in a lie, an illusion, rose-colored glasses, or you can choose truth, reality, forward movement. You can choose past, or you can choose present. You can choose growth, or you can choose feigning ignorance, right? Pretending you don't know, confusion, stagnancy. And so it really does become a choice. A matter of, okay, not necessarily questioning yourself in a sense of like, did that really happen? Did I really experience that? Because that's gaslighting, right? But it's questioning yourself in a sense of, do I feel this way for real? Yes. Otherwise, why would I want to say it? Why would I want to speak it? Why do I feel it? Why did I experience it? You know what I'm saying? Like, so then it's like, okay, validate that. So for example, it's like, this person hurt me really bad. I can either confront them and tell them that they hurt me really bad, or I can gaslight myself and wonder, did they really hurt me that bad? Did that really happen like that? Am I overthinking? Am I right to feel this way? Is it okay for me to think? Or I can say, yeah, that did hurt me that bad. It made me feel less than, it made me feel bad about who I am, and I was really excited to do this with them, and then they just shot me down, and it hurt my feelings, and it made me think da 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 da. and express that to them, right? Have that conversation with them. But that gaslighting ghost might come up, right? And be like, did you da 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 da? Because it fears in speaking that truth and saying that thing and doing the action, whatever it is, not just limited to this scenario. You will lose the person, right? You will have conflict. You will be reflected something from that person that maybe you don't expect, or maybe you don't know how to handle. But if it's coming up, that means you can handle it. If you're being put in a position to speak, to say, to do the thing, you can handle speaking, saying, or doing the thing, existing as the thing. But it's all about the challenge and the choice point of, but will you? It's not a matter of if you can, it's a matter of will you? Because it does it does require bravery, right? It does require courage. Two things that you can embody and you do have. But you have to believe in it, in a sense. You have to let yourself have it. And yeah, that is the gaslight ghost. And I know that other people resonate with this, because I've definitely resonated with this. And especially if and when you've been in abusive relationships and connections and scenarios, it's like those type of situations always make you rethink and gaslight yourself, right? They gaslight you, so then you gaslight you, and that just becomes your automatic norm, right? You have a truth, you feel something, and then boom, here's the ghost trying to zap it out of you. Is that really making you overthink? Oh wait, maybe no, right? But it's a matter of the awareness, and it's a matter of paying attention. If you made it to the end of this video, definitely go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, Wolf, bye. Also, let me know about your experiences in the comment section. I'd love to hear if this resonated with you.